The last House meeting of the Barrow era, but sparks still flew across the House floor. You'll see Briseño versus Boots and King Spark Kareem versus Kinelside Barrow. Those two exchanged insults over nepotism. And will Election Day be a holiday? It may well be. You'll hear the House discussion. Plus, a major, important piece of legislation is passed. We'll tell you about the strict and sweeping new cybercrime law. And the first U.S. deportees in months arrive to Belize. We'll tell you what's the plan for them. We've got details of these and other stories in our newscast for tonight, Friday, 25th September 2020. Good evening. With your news, I'm Indira Craig.
Ready and comfort.
So you need a mobile plan that can keep up. Digi is now offering unlimited talk and text and double the data on all plans and up to 60 gigs for the Plus plans. All backed up by the fastest and largest mobile network. More work, more fun, more you. Visit your nearest Digi store today.
Belizean history for 600.
Who is the head of state in Belize? Johnny.
Who is Lord Michael Ashcroft? Belizean history for 400.
Why did Belizeans elect the PUP in the past? Johnny.
What is to steal? Belizean history for 200.
When did Belize gain independence? Johnny.
What is 1979?
Meals are better at home with Coca-Cola. Collect 2 golden caps of Coca-Cola, Fanta, or Sprite 1.5 liter with the word WIN and 1 golden cap with the word microwave or 1 with the word Oster. And you can win a microwave oven or Oster pots and pans. You'll also receive a free kitchen utensil with all 1.5 liter twin pack purchases. You can collect all 4 utensils. Visit www.coca-cola.com.
Now is the time to sign up for the best postpaid plans in the country because Digi has doubled the data in all their plans. Now you can get even more done, connect even more, stream even more, create even more, and share even more. All on the fastest mobile network that gives you the most coverage nationwide. Now is the time to go postpaid with plans starting as low as $49 monthly. Shared plans are also available, all with unlimited talk and text. So don't wait. Hurry over to your nearest Digi store to sign up today. Enjoy double the data in all postpaid plans only with Digi.
My name is Kira Pinello. I'm 37 years young. I was born in Belize City and I moved around a lot until I settled here in Belmopan. My day sometimes starts from like 5:30 in the morning because I would get up to go run. But during that period of time, that's when I gather my thoughts. Being a mother of two and a wife and an employer, you know, it's hard finding a balance to juggle everything, but we love what we do, so it's worth it. I'm technically a second-generation insurance agent. My grandmother was in the industry for over 40 years, and in 2015, she was diagnosed with cancer. And it's because of her encouragement and the support of the RFNG team, I decided to continue her legacy. I saw the love she had for what she did and the love she had for her customers, because it wasn't just about providing a service, but it was about creating friendship. I am your neighbor, I am your friend. I am your RFNG agent.
Find your nearest RFNG agent on our website at rfginsurancepolice.com, where it pays to get it right.
I'm Chef Sean Quillen, and I got a nice surprise for you today.
Take your cooking skills to a whole new level with Glazed Out, TNC's first ever cooking show with culinary expert Chef Sean Quillen. Tune in every week for exciting Belizean cuisine and some of Belize's biggest names in culinary art and culture, and watch as they create unique and delicious meals that will surely excite your taste buds. Glazed Out in the kitchen with Chef Sean.
Belizean food, how another level. Premiering only on TNC 10.
In the weeks ahead, we will go to the polls to decide how we will get through these troubling times. This is our appointment with history. We get to decide if we want to live in a country where we will say no to corruption and cronyism, no to lawlessness, crippling poverty, no to mismanagement and incompetence. We must decide if we want a fairer, more prosperous nation where everybody wins, or if we want more of the same. Work ahead will not be easy. Our challenges will be great, but each generation must keep working to build the nation we deserve to live in.
Today was likely the last House meeting of the Barrow era. 8 years and some months and scores of meetings under the leadership of the man bestowed with the title Father of the House, a parliamentary title Barrow earns as having the longest continuous service in the House, 1984 to 2020. But even though it was probably the last House meeting of the Barrow era, no election date was set and nothing was settled in the House either. There's no chill in politics, especially with an election only maybe 6 or 7 weeks away. And so, speaking on the adjournment, the leader of the opposition went nuclear on the Minister of Human Development, Anthony Boots Martinez. And Martinez didn't play to respond with his own nuclear warheads. Here's that feisty back and forth.
Yesterday I got a bunch of payments that have been issued by the Ministry of Human Development, to payments made to the minister and to members of his family, totaling $1.5 million. I see one member of the minister's family gotten 90 payments for rent of $7,760, $5,335, 90 payments in just a little over a 5-year span. What I find most interesting though, Madam Speaker, is that the minister also got 86 payments for rent totaling $568,859.85. The other family member got $586,329.55. He said to Jules Vasquez that it was not him, it's a family member of his. But now we find out that both the family member and himself are collecting rent for the exact same amount, Madam Speaker. One family member is 7,760, and the minister is collecting 7,760. The next member, $5,335, the family member, and he is collecting $5,335, the exact same thing. It makes you wonder what's going on. His ministry is paying him $4,000 for sporting events in the Port Loyola constituency, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, 9 months. And during COVID, yes, there's no sporting activity during COVID because you cannot have any kind of contact sports. More importantly, I checked with our representative in Port Loyola.
Madam Speaker.
Gilbert.
I am a member of this house, you know, and then they can't distort. They don't have no information about me collecting no $4,000 for my ministry. Let me set the record straight.
Yes.
I, Honorable Anthony Boots Martinez, rent no building and collect no money for no ministry. For me, I straightforward, just like how you see it. And then you need to understand the leader of the opposition, you used to be in a government. The community vote, where they refer to, that got to through each ministry, and you get it through the National Assembly. You have the same thing. You get the same thing every month. The same thing every month you get.
Honorable Minister.
I make me set the record straight, you know. Remember him in the talk, kind of thing, you know. There is no record, Madam Speaker, of the ministry or government paying me any money for any rental of premises. So they better get that out of the head. Because when you talk about corruption, none of my family members, no go to prison for drugs. So we don't depend not at all.
So yes, while there was sharp conflict and angry words fired across the floor, there were also some grace notes and bipartisan support of important legislation, foremost among those, the Cybercrime Bill of 2020. Now, this bill makes it a crime to engage in cyberbullying, revenge porn, the exploitation of children and internet porn, and distributing persons' private or intimate photos or videos to humiliate them. So, very soon it will be legal for predators and cyberbullies to release videos and pictures of adults or minors engaged in private sexual acts. The government is seeking to provide protection for these types of victims of this all too common practice. But the cybercrime bill goes even further. It addresses issues such as identity theft, child solicitation on the internet, electronic fraud, and the infringement of copyright patents, designs, and trademarks. You can also violate this new law based on what you publish on social media platforms like Facebook. Here's today's debate over the cybercrime bill, which had widespread support from both sides of the aisle.
I rise in support of the cybercrime bill. As we discussed in the House Committee meeting on Wednesday, we think this is long overdue. It should have been done maybe 15 years ago. But the Africans say the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The next best time is now. And so we on this side welcome this bill. And we acknowledge all the people all over the country, in high and low places, the Special Envoy and her team, other people, single mothers and others all over the country who lobbied to bring this bill to fruition. Also all the people who have been cyberbullied in the past, who have been ridiculed, embarrassed, caused emotional distress. Some have had to leave this country because it's too small, because people's eyes had started to become or feel like bullets in the back everywhere they went. We salute them wherever they are. Madam Speaker, this bill is comprehensive, game-changing. The rules as we know it will never be the same. I think it's important for us to spell out some to the public what's inside this bill. No longer will anyone be allowed to take pics of someone's private parts without their permission and publish that all over social media to harass, ridicule, embarrass, or intimidate or blackmail a person. No longer will anyone be allowed to threaten, to publish personal or private information to extort or cause ridicule or shame to another person. No longer will anyone be allowed to disseminate information they know to be false with the intent to embarrass or harm someone's reputation. No longer will anyone be allowed to lure children into child pornography or to engage in a sexual conversation with a child. No longer will anyone be allowed to arrange a meeting with a child for the purpose of abusing or engaging in sexual activity with the child, even if you take no steps to actually effect this meeting. This legislation is strong and it's far-reaching. If you commit any of these offenses, you will go to jail, and you will go to jail for long, and you will have to pay hefty fines. The bill outlaws everything from illegal access to a computer without the owner's permission, illegal use of the computer data without the owner's permission, to computer-related forgeries and identity-related fraud and theft. And if someone aids or abets or advises or encourages someone to violate any provisions of this bill, that person will be treated as if they are the principal offender. The old rules as we know it in social media, will be no more.
These cyber crimes have to do with business fraud, identity theft. Illegal access to a computer system is an offense. Illegal access to the data of that computer will be an offense. Illegal interference of that data will be an offense. Illegal system interference, when you are interfering with more than just one individual computer, a whole system, a network. Illegal devices and code. This business about pirating is now going to be an offense. So if you're sitting at home and you have a CD or a flash drive that you're going to push in your brand new computer, and somebody has given you codes to load on Microsoft Office and Microsoft Word and Excel and all of that, and that code was gathered illegally, you are committing an offense. These are things that people in our country do every day, and we don't want them to be caught, Madam Speaker, without knowing that this is something that is illegal. The committee felt so strongly about this that we believe that if somebody is convicted, caught intentionally in these offenses, Madam Speaker, that there should be no discretion on the part of the magistrate, that in fact that person should be forced to pay the penalty and indeed get some prison time as a result of this. So we are sending the signal there is zero tolerance for this kind of thing. You will go to jail and you will have to pay a very stiff financial penalty together.
This bill was passed by the House today and now goes to the Senate. And while both sides agreed on that legislation, we take you again to the adjournment where the PUP's Kareem Musa attacked Prime Minister Barrow for nepotism, shown allegedly with his brother, the attorney Dennis Barrow, and his ex-wife, attorney Lois Young Barrow. From there, he tried to suggest a similar connection with the PM's son, Anwar Barrow. Here's that exchange.
The issue of nepotism in government and how dangerous it is, Madam Speaker. The Prime Minister once said in an interview, I don't know if it was Channel 5 or 7, that nepotism is not corruption. Those were his words. But I can tell you, Madam Speaker, having sat on this side of the House and watched all the transactions that have taken place, each and every budget debate that I come to this House, and I go to the Ministry of Finance and I find in their spending, in their expenditures, that little category that says legal and administrative fees. Every year, Madam Speaker, since I have been here, it has been $5 million plus in legal and administrative fees. Since 2008, we know that the favorite attorney for the government was Lois Young Barrow. That was the first term government. Millions of dollars paid out to the ex-wife of the Prime Minister, Madam Speaker. Because after Lois Young Barrow, it was Brother Dennis. Again, I've seen wire transfers. I'm not going to table any motion, but I've seen wire transfers up to $5 million to Brother Dennis, Madam Speaker. And other family members who are lawyers have benefited from this administration giving them private legal contracts. And I want to disagree with the Prime Minister when he says that nepotism is not corruption. It absolutely is corruption. It has cost us so much money over the years. And we see where the Prime Minister last week said that he doesn't care who got that contract, Madam Speaker, for Bolido. He doesn't care. What does that have to do with the price of rice? And he said that he's not the minister responsible for the Lotteries Commission, but he is. He's the Minister of Finance, Madam Speaker. And all I wanted to say was that, and I'm not going to call any names, Madam Speaker, but his son is affiliated with that company that was awarded that contract, and he should have known as the Minister of Finance. The point, Madam Speaker, is that first it was legal fees, tens of millions, and now it's hundreds of millions of dollars in a contract for Bolido, man. Right. This is totally unacceptable, Madam Speaker.
When your father made your brother the head of niche, was that nepotism, sir? I didn't see it as nepotism. We never complained because your brother is an artist. He's a legitimate artist. He clearly is very knowledgeable about culture and arts. And so he got that job based on merit. You cannot have a situation in which family members of politicians will be excluded from any chance at bidding for public contracts simply because they are family members of people in the government. You've got to look at each case. And government, in my view, had a duty going up against the lawyers for the previous owners of BTL to get the very best. Before him, I got my ex-wife, who also was known in Belize by even her opponents politically as an excellent lawyer, a first-class lawyer, worker bee, who always distinguished herself at the bar. Those things can't be nepotism. Make I tell you something. I born a Kinnell side, you know. So when you want to go lower, you could go lower. Never wrestle with a pig. You both get dirty, but the pig likes it. I refuse to wrestle.
And going back now to actual legislative business, where both sides could actually agree on something. Also passed in the House today was an amendment to the Representation of the Peoples Act. It's a simple change. The government wants to make sure that the entire election day is liquor-free. And so they have extended the restriction of the sale of liquor to make it illegal to sell it for almost 24 hours. Now, during the passage of the bill, the leader of the opposition made the recommendation to the Prime Minister to declare the election day a holiday to make it easier for voters to reach the polls during these COVID-19 times. Here's that part of the meeting.
Madam Speaker, I move the second reading of a bill for an act to amend the Representation of the People Act, Chapter 9 of the Substantive Laws of Belize, Revised Edition 2011, to extend the time for the restriction of the sale of intoxicating liquor on Election Day and to provide for matters connected therewith or incidental thereto.
Honorable Opposition Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Certainly, we on this side do support the whole idea of extending the time that we do not sell liquor on election day. But, Madam Speaker, I'd like to show something, also make a recommendation to the Prime Minister that maybe we can give some serious consideration that whenever the election is called, that election day be declared a holiday in this case. And I say it simply, Prime Minister, because we're in the time of COVID. And some people have to go to work, we believe City, and rush to Orange Walk to try to vote. Or so last minute you have this big rush of people trying to get to the polls. I think that because of the COVID situation, that we can declare a holiday so that everybody has time to be able to go constantly during the day to vote and avoid that rush. I think I'm appealing to you, Prime Minister, and to everyone to give that some serious consideration. Thank you, Madam Speaker. We do support this.
Madam Speaker, the question of declaring election day a holiday has come up before. Normally the private sector screams bloody murder, but I will have to consult, but I agree instinctively with what the Leader of the Opposition has said. This is the time of coronavirus. These are COVID-19 times. Already it'll be a job, a chore to get people to go to the polls. There's a fear factor. If you add to that, if you compound the problem by making it logistically difficult for the reasons that the leader outlined, I think then we are not acting in a way that the circumstances demand. So I will put on record my personal agreement with his suggestion. We'll have to go to cabinet. I see my leader-elect saying yes. The Minister of Health is saying yes. We will, no doubt, the private sector will have heard this now or later today, and if they have any representations they want to make, please feel to do so. But I think it's a fine idea.
Again, this bill was passed by the House. And we'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll tell you about the first deportee flight in months. And the NGO community, the unions and the chamber all signed a joint declaration today. They want to hold this government and future government's feet to the fire. Don't go away.
Tiles, tiles, and more tiles. Benny's is having a massive tile sale. For the entire month of September, get great deals on every single tile at Benny's. Ceramic tile, porcelain tile, glass tile, stone tile, and HD tile. Also, come and see a wide selection of new arrivals featuring additional blue light specials starting at a low $1.59. It's Benny's massive tile sale. Benny's, quality and savings.
We have made unprecedented investments in developing the backbone infrastructure of our nation, which has positively impacted every community in this country, with new roads, sporting complexes, water and waste management systems, hospitals, schools, electricity, and internet connectivity. These investments have contributed greatly to the movement of people, goods, and the services, and has bolstered our economic growth while setting the stage for a new era of Belizean prosperity in the upcoming decade.
Ready and comfort.
You work hard, you play hard, so you need a mobile plan that can keep up. Digi is now offering unlimited talk and text and double the data on all plans and up to 60 gigs for the Plus plans. All backed up by the fastest and largest mobile network. More work, more fun, more you. Visit your nearest Digi store today.
Price Premier Products Limited has been proudly serving Belize for many years. We aim to serve you better and are pleased to announce our new office with convenient parking at number 1728 Chetamal Street, Belize City. Here, you will find our Price Smart outlet opening on weekdays from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Be impressed with the variety of quality branded products such as Pampers, Always, Tide and Downy, Del Monte, DAC, Vigo and Alessi, Duracell, Crystal Farm Cheese, Linda Powdered Milk, Great Lakes Pork Tails, Ground Coffee, Authentic Gillette for men and women. We distribute many of the world's top and finest brands to supermarkets and stores nationwide. For authentic brands and quality products, visit us today. Price Premier Products Limited, importer and distributor of fine quality products.
Bellykin got your back. What you mean? Brother, when you buy a 6-pack of Bellykin beer, Bellykin Stout or Bellykin Light, you could enter for winning a Bellykin's weekly drawings. What are the prizes? Over 10,000 in a weekly prizes, including Bellykin beer, Bellykin bar tabs, and cash. With your purchase on a 6-pack, scan the QR code or visit bellykin.com/win to enter your unique 6-pack ID. But make sure you keep your 6-pack cartons for proof of purchase.
Why? Bellykin really got the back with the purchase at every 6-pack.
Bellykin, the beer of Belize.
To our Bellykin Got Your Back winners to date. Continue purchasing your 6-packs and entering your codes for a chance to win over $10,000 in weekly prizes because Bellykin got your back.
Bellykin, the beer of Belize.
There's Edwin Castro, who used the Belize Airports Authority to pay his personal bills. Check after check after check. Fleecing of public monies. Shameful. He was accused of facilitating visas for money, $2,000 each. His name was called over and over again. The U.S. revoked his visas because of that immigration scandal, because they know the level of corruption. And this man is a senior UDP minister. The thing is, Patrick Faber has been Minister of Education for 12 years. He has always been a part of the corrupt UDP government. This is the same UDP, the same faces, the same greed, arrogance, corruption, and incompetence. Nothing has changed. Reject them all. It is time for the UDP to go.
There hasn't been a flight of Belizean deportees from the United States since March, when COVID numbers started to go up worldwide. You may recall that in Guatemala back in April, the president said that the vuelo maldito, or cursed flight, in March delivered a number of COVID-infected persons to Guatemala from U.S. detention facilities, causing a spike in cases there. Well, Belize got its first deportee flight in months today. 25 Belizeans who have been convicted and served time in the U.S. came on the flight out of the U.S. state of Mississippi. They came from holding centers all across the U.S., ranging from Texas to Nevada to California and to Georgia, all COVID-heavy states. They were all tested for COVID-19 and will be held in quarantine at a camp in the Cayo district. Police have made no arrests for a robbery in Dangriga, which happened yesterday. A security video shows a scary moment as two masked men with warm caps barged into Havana's store. One of them went behind the counter to steal from the cashier, while the other with the weapon held up two customers. This happened in less than a minute, and when they left, the gunman fired a shot into the air, sending customers scrambling to the ground. We'll let you know if and when police makes an arrest. It is being called a historic milestone, and that's the joint declaration of social partners of Belize, bringing together the labor movement, the NGO movement, and the business sector. This morning, the NTUCB, the Chamber of Commerce, and the Belize network of NGOs got together at an undisclosed location, streamed it via Facebook, didn't invite the press to ask questions, yet demanded a higher level of transparency and accountability from governments present and future. The presenters said that the declaration is about demanding good governance.
For many years, Belizeans as a whole have been complaining about the issues surrounding the government of Belize under both administrations. And we understand the role that we are required to play in order for us to have a good democratic governance system that will serve all and not just those with special interests in our country. You can no longer expect that the politicians that you elect every year will yield the results that you and I so desire, because we have tried that for over decades consistently, and we have failed consistently. Therefore, this is the way, because only the people will save the people.
We have focused on the unassailable pursuit of good governance, which obviously transcends short-term issues, election cycles, politics, and most recently even the COVID pandemic. This declaration signals a public start of our intended activities over several years to come. The BCCI views this as a long-term commitment where no effort will be spared and no step should be underestimated for its impact on and shaping of the future of governance in Belize.
We have tried over the decades to come here. We cannot wait any longer. Behavioral change will take generations, and so we are going to come up with a strategy that we hope will be far more effective than other efforts have been in the past.
The two-page agreement they signed speaks specifically to accountability from oversight bodies and insulation from political control to strengthen Belize's democracy. Here are some of the points that caught our attention.
Recognizing that for approximately 2 decades, successive government administrations have failed to institute the necessary reforms that would guarantee oversight institutions their true independence, which is defined as institutions that are adequately resourced and insulated from the control of the executive branch. Recalling that the oversight institutions referenced above include, but are not limited to, the Integrity Commission, electoral management bodies, the Office of the Contractor General, the Office of the Auditor General, the Public Accounts Committee, the Financial Intelligence Unit, and the Office of the Ombudsman, the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, law enforcement agencies, and the judiciary.
Utilize the available legal recourses to bring about effective campaign finance and political parties registration laws as urgently as possible in the absence of any effectual effort by the members of the House of Representatives to institute the same.
We later learned that the signing was held at the Belize Audubon Society Conference Room. Back in 2007, Constable Anthony Polonio was charged for perjury in the case of Chayo Ben Abonera, which resulted in Abonera's acquittal. At the time, police said he had contradicted previous evidence in court. In the press, it was called sudden amnesia. But after the headlines faded, Polonio and another officer, Darius Ramos, was acquitted of perjury. But by then, Polonio had already been dismissed from the police department after he was convicted in a police tribunal. But after the acquittal, he wanted his old job back, but could not get reinstatement. Well, he's been fighting his case for years, going from one attorney to the other in a countersuit, and still he can't get compensation for what should have been his years of service or a pension. But Polonio, who is 59 now, won't stop fighting to clear his name. And now, after some exhaustion with the runaround in the courts, he's come to the press. He called a virtual press conference today and said he's been denied justice.
It's impossible to get justice when suing the government of Belize.
All we want, and all I want, is for my husband here to be cleared, and so that he can get what he deserves to get, right? He wants his name cleared, and he wants to get his PA and whatever from the government. It's compensation, and I ask the lawyer to file that he can get his pension also, right? Because it's only fair.
I find that it looks like justice are for some, and otherwise others must suffer and die. That's the way it looks. In fact, that is what we are experiencing, Belize is experiencing now. Either you die or they give you a little hand. Little hand. Justice must sometime, some way, come to people who deserve it.
Polonio's case is still meandering through the Supreme Court. Going back now to today's House meeting, there was heated debate happening during the introduction of the Defense Amendment Bill of 2020. According to the National Assembly's notes on the draft legislation, the purpose of the amendment is to update the provisions of the Defense Act and bring it in line with the Belize Constitution and other laws. We understand from informed persons that the changes in the amendment were mostly housekeeping, but there were a few proposed changes that some of the parliamentarians disagreed with. Here's the PUP's Kareem Musa's contribution to the debate about the bill.
Madam Speaker, as the Prime Minister just pointed out, there were some sections that had been proposed, and while I can appreciate the spirit and intent of the section, because in actuality and in reality, abuse exists in our military and in our police department, and we're talking of a sexual nature. And so while it was that the intent was to include matters like rape and sexual assault as matters as like disgraceful conduct, I think we would have run afoul of the criminal code, Madam Speaker, because the criminal code has a penalty of up to life for rape. And so my main position and proposition within the committee was that we need to have more enforcement. The police department needs to be able to go into the military if there is an accusation against a particular officer of rape or sexual assault and investigate. It cannot be that the defense and the military is immune to this type of investigation. And so we in this honorable house have to send the strongest of messages, Madam Speaker, the strongest of signals that it will not be tolerated any longer.
What Section 62 of the Principal Act deals with is disgraceful conduct of a soldier and a punishment for that. He is correct in that it was the intention of those who are proposing the bill to increase and more clearly define what would be considered as disgraceful conduct. And that was why things like rape and sexual assault was included in the definition in the amendment bill. And those things, as we are proposing now, coming from the committee, that this entire section of defining those acts, especially where rape and sexual assault is included, is what we are withdrawing. And we're doing so, Madam Speaker, for the very same reason that he has pointed out, that we want to ensure that these very heinous acts, rape, sexual assault, and other things that are criminal offenses cannot be overlooked and overshadowed by regulation like this that is handled within the military alone and is given a mere penalty of just something not exceeding 2 years, as it is stated now in the Principal Act. So it is because we value our women in the security forces and believe that they ought to get justice in the most stern way for those offenders that we have decided to withdraw section or the amendment number 36 from the amendment bill, and then revert back, Madam Speaker, to what is originally in the Principal Act at section 62, so that what is considered disgraceful conduct goes back to whatever definition was there, and those acts of rape and sexual offense and whatever else was listed here, wrongful distribution of intimate visual images, which will be covered by the cybercrime regulation and will now be a criminal offense. All of these things, Madam Speaker, will not escape the police.
Later on in the debate over the amendments, several of the parliamentarians took a different view of the bill. They chose to focus instead on the fact that the state has no sort of social protection for retired soldiers to transition them out of the military and back into private life.
One of the big issues we're facing with officers and our ranks when they leave the military after 22 years, Madam Speaker, is that they usually have a serious issue. They usually have a very serious issue with unemployment outside. Why? Because there is not an immediate translation of their skills. Madam Speaker, it costs this government, well, not this government, it costs governments money to train and to create soldiers. It is not an easy thing. Hence, that's why you hear things of recruitment training, boot camp. You hear officers going to Guyana, to Canada, to Sandhurst, West Point. It costs money because you need professional soldiers along our border. So these are some of the issues that I believe has to be addressed by any changes to the Defense Act. Issues of proper equipment for our soldiers, issues for those who are now retiring, the ability to translate some of their skills into the private force. As well, Madam Speaker, I was about to forget this one. As well, I believe it is time now that our military starts being covered by Social Security. Just this morning, one of the texts I got, where this guy now, he's out of the military for 6 years, for 6 months now. He has not gotten his pension. He has no job, and well, he have no Social Security to collect from. So he is unemployed. And he is a retired warrant officer. So how does he go and say, all right, I can work out there? A lot of these former soldiers who are highly trained, who our government have invested a lot of money in. Right? When you see them working as security guards at the different banks, at different institutions. And they're very professional and they're good at it. But again, like I said, from when you go to an organization that is highly professional, well-designed, for them to literally just reach as a security guard who minds the door, I think we're losing some special skills here, Madam Speaker.
Maybe it is time to consider at the BDF that probably in the last year prior to retirement, that these soldiers can get some kind of counseling and preparing them to get another kind of job if they want to be an electrical or a carpenter or whatever it is that they do. I think that's the least that we owe to them.
Madam Speaker, we will all acknowledge that we owe a debt of gratitude to our uniformed forces, our national security personnel, as they work tirelessly across this country to ensure that this country is kept safe, Madam Speaker. Our military personnel should be compensated after serving this country. They work very hard, Madam Speaker, and I agree, opportunities in education, but I would also go further. I believe that every Belizean who serves, whether in the military or the police, and I would even add doctors and nurses and teachers, Coast Guard should ensure, Madam Speaker, the government should ensure that they get a piece of land where they can build a decent house, where they can, create their own little farms, after they retire. I believe that that is very important, and that is one way in which the government can show gratitude for the service that they have provided for our country, Madam Speaker.
All of what has been said is valid. The theme first proposed by the leader of the opposition, or perhaps it came originally from the member for Coruscant Southeast, and certainly our friend from Toledo West, ended on a very strong note with respect to endorsing all that has been said about the welfare of the men and women in the media. And it's absolutely valid, and there can be no counter-argument to the articulation of the case that they have been advocated. But that has nothing to do with the bill. That was not the purpose of this bill. It's not my bill. Well, it's my bill because I'm presenting it, but it's basically, this is something coming from the Belize Defense Force. And why it has been so late was because they wanted to be sure that they got it absolutely right from the point of view of what they saw as the issues that they wanted to have addressed.
At the end of the House meeting, this bill was also passed by the House. There was also a heated debate over the government's proposed land tax amendment bill. As we told you this, the Barrow government, that is, attempt to ease the financial burden of landowners by offering tax forgiveness due to the effects of COVID-19. But the PPP's Cordell Hyde challenged the UDP parliamentarians on the bill's intent, because in his opinion, the poorer groups of Belizeans who need the most relief available won't benefit from it. Here's what he and his colleagues had to say about the proposed amendment.
We understand we are in the middle of COVID. We're in the middle of a pandemic that has claimed 22 lives so far and laid in ruins much of our economy. We get that. What we don't get is just what this new land tax write-off would mean in terms of lost revenue to the government and people of Belize. How many persons will benefit? Who are these persons who will benefit? Just how we expect this proposed relief to spur the economy? Will these big landowners be using this money to reinvest or it's just a gift? The paper lacks some details, Madam Speaker, and I think it is just kind of unfair for us to have to consider a paper of this magnitude with so many unanswered questions. What I would have really wanted to see was some relief provided to all these ordinary people who are being kicked out of their homes by heartless landlords because they can't pay. What I really would have wanted to see was some relief for all of our people who have had to pay astronomical bills over the last few months and rising water costs. Madam Speaker, I don't know if you have any idea just how many people have been kicked out of their apartments because they can't pay right now, because they are not working, and because the landlords don't want to hear nothing, and there's no protection for these folks.
because the truth of the matter is they're not working, they don't have income to pay. But in 1 week we come here, we proposed this bill last Friday, and 1 week, 7 days, we'll pass this, and the big landowners will get a neat little tax write-off. But this will not benefit the ordinary folk.
I rise in support of this bill for the tax relief at the discretion of the Minister of Natural Resources. And I can almost guarantee that the bill is going to get the support of the member from Toledo West, certainly the member from Stann Creek West, and I'm sure the other members from the rural constituencies up north and in the west of the country. Madam Speaker, this pandemic has had two immediate and urgent results. One is the illness that it has caused to people, but perhaps the most devastating one for Belize is the economic fallout. Almost overnight, we have lost thousands of jobs. People who were employed suddenly lost their means of income. And if those people who are employed, as the member from Lake High has suggested, can't pay their house rent, can't pay their light bill, can't pay their water bill. House rent, the government has nothing to do with. Light bill, the government has nothing to do with. Water bill, the government has nothing to do with. But certainly land taxes, the government has everything to do with.
Madam Speaker, I particularly wanted to respond to my friend from Lake High. And again, if he will allow me to use what is now a fairly shop-worn phrase, but it is still valid. You can't allow the perfect to be the enemy of the good, because we are not able to provide for those who can't pay their rent. We should not provide for breaks to the farmers, all farmers. The bill makes no distinction. The minister has the power to exempt all landholders from the land tax in this time of COVID.
Madam Speaker, how can I not support a bill like this that ease all farmers on taxes? Of course, the farmers in this country are the poorest people today. Taxes and easing the taxes is wonderful, Madam Speaker, but let us now look at how the banks can ease these farmers. I support the idea of tax relief, but I also want to ask the government to intervene with the banks to help the farmers. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Land Tax Amendment Bill has been passed by the House, and it now goes to the Senate. While Cordell Hyde was making his case against the Land Tax Amendment Bill, he also used the opportunity to challenge the Prime Minister on his assertion that the latest phase of the unemployment relief program is proceeding more smoothly than the last one around. The Prime Minister disagreed, and here's that back and forth.
I heard the Prime Minister must have been Independence Day, but I think he said it in the last meeting too. Kind of boast that, you know, this second round of the COVID relief is going faster and better. I think they lied to you. I don't know who they lied to you, but I think they lied to you. Because based on the data, the public data, Boots say pretty up things. Based on the public data, I think it's 62,000 persons who have applied, 62,300 plus people who have applied on the second wave of the COVID relief. According to the public records, 20,000 persons have been approved. 11,000 for various reasons have been denied or rejected. But check this stats, Madam Speaker. That program started on August the 3rd. Today is September 25th. You're talking about what? If my maths is correct, 53 days. 7 weeks and 4 days. That 31,000 people are waiting to hear whether they've gotten approval, whether they could go pick up the E150 or however it is being paid. Because only 30,000 people out of the 62,000 people have been accounted for. I know a lot of those people go to the ATM every day, go check see if the eagle land. And when you go in there and a zero balance or $3 and change or whatever, you have to sheepishly walk out of the ATM because you got people who watch you. I don't know, I know, man. I probably don't remember that experience there, but it's real. Because you go and check religiously every other day if you see if that money there. It's not there, it's not been there for those 31,000 people. And I feel like the government can be rather efficient in writing off land taxes for the big people. Can be rather efficient when they want to set up this national gas company, but can be rather inefficient when it comes to ensuring that the little people get what they forget. We talk about 30,000 people where in a lot of cases are legitimate persons who have lost their jobs from March of this year, who did not get anything in the first round of relief.
We are moving far more quickly. I just checked on Independence Day, we had approved, we had paid out 20, it's now 25,500 and odd in a few days. So we are moving far more quickly. And your numbers are wrong. It is not some 60-odd thousand, even 50-odd thousand that are to be, in fact, processed and approved in terms of phase 2. And I say this not to quarrel, just to set the facts straight. We'd already said, remember that in phase 1, we had something like 10,000 persons that are the long-term unemployed. This was to have been a quick reaction intervention to relieve people who lost their jobs in consequence of COVID-19. The leader of the opposition, when he was part of the National Oversight Committee, pushed for us to bring in as well longer-term unemployed, and we did so. They are not a part of phase 2, and that's why the numbers of those that are to benefit from phase 2 are going down. But we're not leaving them out in the cold. The longer-term unemployed will now become beneficiaries, recipients of the Boost 2.0 program, the Belize COVID-19 response. That is what the World Bank is funding. The World Bank is giving nothing for the, you talked about the food program. The World Bank is giving nothing for the food program, giving nothing for the unemployment relief program. But it is putting up this $13 million that we will use to put, as I said, the longer-term unemployed on the Belize COVID-19 response conditional cash transfer program. That's what Boost is.
Take a break now. When we come back, we'll tell you about the newly named TV Ramos Highway, and Julius Espat, the always combative representative, tries but fails to end this parliamentary term on a note of kindness. Don't go away.
card, so you need a mobile plan that can keep up. Digi is now offering unlimited talk and text and double the data on all plans and up to 60 gigs for the Plus plans, all backed up by the fastest and largest mobile network. More work, more fun, more you. Visit your nearest Digi store today.
The Belize Mental Health Association presents a Philaton event to commemorate World Mental Health Day on Saturday, October 10th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. This community outreach is soliciting funds, clothing, and volunteers for the Welcome Resource Center. Your contribution will help us to meaningfully support the homeless and mentally ill. Our telethon will feature guest speakers and live entertainment and will present information on homelessness and the annual high school speech competition on mental health issues. It will be broadcasted nationally and streamed live on the Welcome Resource Center Facebook page. Submit your pledges in advance or on Saturday, October 10th. Let us all commit to promoting mental health for all. Greater investment, greater access.
Contraband is the illegal importation of goods such as alcohol, tobacco, foods, and parts. Apart from breaking the law, smugglers are also now endangering the health of all Belizeans. They risk bringing coronavirus into Belize with their contraband. To keep COVID-19 out of Belize, everyone entering the country is screened and quarantined. But contraband smugglers are not using legal entry points and are bypassing all safety measures. And these same smugglers are moving among the population. They could be carrying the virus. By coming into the country illegally, they could cause outbreaks of COVID-19. Buying or smuggling contraband is putting yourself, your family, and the entire country at risk. Report smuggling. For SMART, call 0800-JUMPERS or 0800-BORDERS. For Digi, 0800-SAVE-BZE. This message is brought to you by the Belize Police Department and the Belize Bank.
Weeks ahead, we will go to the polls to decide how we will get through these troubling times. This is our appointment with history. We get to decide if we want to live in a country where we will say no to corruption and cronyism, no to lawlessness, crippling poverty, no to mismanagement and incompetence. We must decide if we want a fairer, more prosperous nation where everybody wins, or if we want more of the same. Work ahead will not be easy. Our challenges will be great, but each generation must keep working to build the nation we deserve to live in.
Politician.
The COVID-19 test results released last night shows 52 positive cases from a batch of 300 tests, which is a 17% positivity rate. Again, the numbers are high in the north, with 15 cases in the Orange Walk district, including 4 in the town, 2 in Yo Creek, 1 in Trial Farm, 2 in Nuevo San Juan, 1 in San Lazaro, 1 from Corozal Town but swabbed in Orange Walk, as well as 4 from Toledo but swabbed in Orange Walk. In the Corozal district, there are 16 cases, 10 in the town, 1 in Chanchen, 1 in Carolina, 1 in Shaibe, 1 in Santa Clara, 1 in Libertad, and 1 coming over from Orange Walk. There's 1 new case in Big Falls, Toledo, 9 in the Cayo district, including 2 in Belmopan, 5 in San Ignacio, 1 in Santa Elena, and 1 in Armenia. There are also 11 new cases in the Belize district, including 10 in San Pedro and 1 in Ladeville. Presently, 2 patients remain critically ill at the KHMH's ICU. And there is also a new wrinkle. There are 3 cases of co-infection with COVID and dengue. And the big test for the health authorities will come next week, Thursday, October 1st, when tourists start arriving at the PGIA. It's a complicated multi-stage protocol that will be in effect, and today those many agencies were at the airport on another dry run. The Director of Health Services told us yesterday what they were looking out for.
Tomorrow we're doing another run, see how it's going to be, and then you go back and tweak back your SOP. Come 1st of October, when there's 1 flight, you might have your SOP, but 2nd of October, you're talking about 2 full flights of more than 240 people. That's next week, Friday. I don't know how the protocol will stand. It's going to be tested then, right? And then that Friday, Saturday, Sunday is going to be tested. So you might come back the following Monday and say, okay, this can't work, or this is the way it's going to work. I mean, it's a dynamic process.
Likely by the next week, Friday, many of those tourists could be heading down the Southern Highway to the tourist hotspot of Placencia. But it won't be the Southern Highway then. That's because at the start of today's House meeting, Prime Minister Dean Barrow made an announcement that in the spirit of patriotism, the Southern Highway will be renamed the Thomas Vincent Ramos Highway. As you may know, T.V. Ramos was a Belizean cultural and civil rights activist who promoted the interests of the Garifuna people back when the country was still a British colony. He challenged the colonial government on what was the systemic neglect of health facilities for the Garunagu in Dangriga. He also gave many years of service to see the Garifuna's social standing in the colony improve. Here are the Prime Minister's comments on why the Southern Highway will now carry T.V. Ramos's name.
Madam Speaker, I rise to declare that in the context of September being informally our National Heroes and Patriots Recognition Month, and after consultation with various groups, the government wants to propose, and so informs the House and the nation, that the Southern Highway be renamed the Thomas Vincent Ramos Highway. Thank you.
Thomas Vincent Ramos is recognized as one of the lead proponents of the Garifuna Settlement Day holiday. As we told you yesterday, the new link road has been named the Johnny Smith Road after the first leader of the PUP, while the Chetamon Street Bridge will be named the Clifford E. Betson Bridge after the General Secretary of the General Workers Union, one of the seminal groups that also fed into the formation of the PUP. And the new Foreign Affairs building in Belmopan will be named after Leigh Richardson, the second leader of the PUP and the first leader of the Honduras Independence Party, which opposed the PUP. At the top of the news, we told you about the passage of the Cybercrime Bill of 2020 in today's House meeting. It seeks to create prosecutable criminal offenses for crimes committed with the use of the internet. In one part of the bill, the drafters were attempting to ensure that there are repercussions for any digital attempt to unfairly malign or injure someone's reputation. While we were explaining what the bill entails, Education Minister Patrick Faber used the opportunity to heap scorn on the Facebook page NBZ Live, which suggested some shady business with government's proposed distance learning plan. NBC published a supposed invoice from one of the companies that the government is working with to procure thousands of computer tablets for high schoolers to use. The invoice appeared legit, and if it were real, it would have given credibility to NBZ Live post. The problem is that it has since been debunked as forged. Here's the Education Minister's harsh put down.
Recently, I was telling my colleagues in the committee, there was a whole generation of generating of an invoice with a logo from an international company, and they're putting all sorts of figures, generating things from companies, all in order to smear my name because they don't have anything else, you see. Some of them are now being forced to make apologies. Those who have shared it, Madam Speaker, you can't just share things that you know is fabricated. So the opposition does not have, Madam Speaker, they do not have any proper means to attack their opponent. So they are going to generate an invoice. You could see where they Photoshop the thing. They put on the logo of a company, 2 companies if you don't mind. I think it was more than 1 document. This is what is being done in order to bring down somebody's reputation. Madam Speaker, I take these things personal because I have managed the Ministry of Education for going on 13 years and my name has never been called in any scandal, but because election is coming, the operatives of the opposition feel that they can manufacture things and tarnish my reputation and the reputation of others. Well, this bill, and in fairness, they have been very...
I think, Madam Speaker,
the opposition has
we were doing so well. And I want to point out, and I cannot leave this unsaid, that I don't know who the Minister of Education is referring, but whosoever that person is not an operative of the People's United Party. I want to put that on record.
I'm glad that you are disowning NBZ Live and you're disowning Associated, what you call yourself? Associated of Concerned Belizeans.
And as the House ended this session of Parliament to give way to an election sometime in the next 5, 6, or 7 weeks, members on the PUP side hope that they will be on the other side of the floor after that election. And that may be what prompted the always combative Julius Espat to almost end on an unusual grace note, which of course turned into another attack. Here's how that went.
In my specific case, Madam Speaker, I would like to say probably your appointment was the only positive thing the Prime Minister has done in his 8 years. I applaud him for appointing a woman, a professional, a UDP supporter, but somebody that has been fair with me. I mean, you wouldn't be there if you wouldn't be a UDP supporter, let's be real. But I respect you, Madam Speaker. And it might have been easier to respect you because I only have one other person to compare you to. And I don't want to go in that direction, but you know where I mean. But so, if there's one thing the Prime Minister did was to support women when it pertains to the legislature, and you're an example of that, so kudos to that. I don't think I agree with the Prime Minister with anything else. But I don't consider him my enemy. I consider him my opponent, and in this case, my past opponent. So, as the representative of peasant and a peasant himself, Madam Speaker, I will tell the Prime Minister, let's rumble in the jungle. Call the thing, boss.
You were extremely calm, extremely rational. You even made clear that you do not consider me your enemy. Did I hear you actually say that maybe you considered me a friend? Well, if we are friends, then I would want to offer to do something for you. First of all, to say that I'm very glad that you conducted yourself in such an almost statesmanlike fashion this evening, because we have grown accustomed to having to wonder, depending on the particular House meeting, which member for Kayo South will show up. You know that there are times when you behave in an almost lunatic fashion in terms of your angry outbursts. But the reason I say that is merely to underline the concern that I have for you, since we're now friends. I checked and I saw, I thought you did. You didn't? Well, I consider you my friend, and I'm going to do this friendly thing for you. I looked at something, you know. The Harvard School of Public Health concluded that outbursts of anger increase the risk of heart attacks, stroke, and other cardiovascular problems, especially in the 2 hours immediately following the incident. I'm glad because you're not dead in the next 2 hours, because you never behaved like that today. But how come when you do it before, how come not numb to you? I think you're a rare and special creature. So what I want to do is to, I don't want to give up my pension, because when I give up my salary thinking that you may follow suit, I don't give up my penny. So I don't want to give up my pension, but I want to start one collection, and I want to make the first donation. I want to take up one collection for send you to Harvard, not for go study, but that is Harvard Public Health, so that they could examine you and find out how it is that, notwithstanding for the scientific conclusions that when you're behaving the way you normally behave, you're going to have a heart attack, that it don't happen to you. I personally want you to go to Harvard, and I want help to find the money to send you.
I think there is a point of clarification here. And the Prime Minister tried to call me his friend, but I think that's a wish that he will never attain.
I don't know.
Anyway, there's a medical condition too, Madam Speaker. It's called pseudologia fantastica. Other people call it mythomania, but it's better known as a pathological liar. That will be his legacy, Madam Speaker.
And one more presentation on the adjournment was from PUP Kaya Northeast Rep. Landy Habet. He's from a rural area, and he spoke about the oversupply of cattle that many farmers are stuck with. This is since the informal trade to Guatemala was cut off. He says many farmers will soon be stuck with more cattle and they can feed.
The cattle industry is undergoing some severe problems. Not only has stopping the trade in cattle affected farmers for these past few months, but what it has done, Madam Speaker, is that there is an oversupply of cattle, animals that cannot get out, that would have otherwise been exported to Guatemala primarily, but because this government decided to stop it, now we have a surplus.
Part of your problem is that when you promote this illegal trade, you are saying that you do so for several reasons, including the fact that there are no controls. There are no tax controls, there are no foreign exchange controls, there are no money laundering controls. How could you people, that it was happening for years and years, is neither here nor there. COVID came, it could not take place in the COVID atmosphere, but bigger than that, it ought to have stopped a long time ago. So, because things bad. The export of drugs is illegal too. If they could do it informally, you would plump for that as well. You need to stop and hear yourself talk. You need to listen to what you're saying. You cannot keep insisting that a government officially must pursue an activity that's illegal in an illegal way. It can't be.
The Prime Minister said that Mexican importer Sucarne has indicated that it will purchase every single live animal that Belize wishes to export. Yesterday, the Belize Central Prison celebrated 2 incarcerated minors at the Wagner's youth facility. The pair excelled in an online high school program, placing 1st and 3rd. That's no small feat for 2 youths who are going at high speeds down a dead-end street. Their turnaround proves that prison isn't all about punishment. It can also be about redemption.
We're here really to honor 2 of our interns, or young interns though, for their, I don't know what to call it, momentous achievement with respect to their educational achievement with their KINA online diploma program. This is the first time in the history of the prison that we have had an inmate, or in this case 2 inmates, ranking so very high, one of them coming in first from amongst 22 of them.
And this is what we call, in its eventuality, success. First place overall in the KINA online high school program, and 3rd place is a momentous and a gigantic achievement for us here. These are young men that, if we operate on the standards that society expects, should have been dead or nobody or thrown and cast away to the fringes. But we have proven here at Wagner's Youth Facility that change can occur.
Murillo says that education extends to basic knowledge shared with 130 persons who are locked up under the extended Southside state of emergency. He says he also has to educate them on the tough terms of their incarceration.
We have various ways of teaching prisoners or educating prisoners. I will tell you something, even with the gang, the state of emergency that we have currently, we do educational sessions with them because they don't understand the seriousness of the state of emergency. I think for the most part, they were never educated on how serious this thing is. They can literally spend quite a number of time in prison on pure states of emergencies where you don't necessarily have to be, it's not criminal charges, they are really placed here for protecting the public, for public safety reasons. And these extensions can go on and on and on, and before you know it, they could be in jail for an entire year, just on what you call states of emergency.
The current Southside state of emergency expires on October 5th. Notably, there have been 20 fewer murders committed in Belize City up to the 3rd week of September of 2020 when compared to the same period in 2019. And that's all we have for you for tonight. Thanks for watching. With your news, I'm Indra Craig. Remember that you can see a streaming video of this newscast at 7newsbelize.com and on our Facebook page, brought to you by Digi for the best postpaid plans in the country. Remember now to wash those hands, to keep a social distance of 6 feet, and to wear a mask properly, of course, and to try and stay home as much as possible. Stay safe and make sure to join me back here on Monday. Have a good night and a great and safe